Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining tonight's Tuesday Talks webinar. My name is Susan Brown, and I am the Associate Director of Parent and Family Programs. It's our pleasure to be hosting a webinar on tonight's Tuesday topic, Getting Globally Ahead. Tonight, you'll be hearing from the Global Experience Office. Our presenters are Garrett Margolotti and Andrea, a second-year student who will be sharing her experiences with study abroad. So during tonight's topic, we invite you after the presentation to ask questions. You will notice on the right-hand screen is the Q&A pod. After Garrett is through presenting and Andrea speaks about her experience, we'll open it up to questions, and hopefully we'll get to as many questions as we can. So Garrett, Andrea, thank you tonight for joining us. We appreciate it. It's a very popular topic. We were just saying that before we went on. We were saying about how popular how many parents are really interested in learning about their students going global. So
yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
really appreciate it. Well, hello everyone. My name is Garrett Margliotti. I'm the Senior Associate Director in our Global Experience Office. I'm here today to talk about all different types of opportunities for your student to engage in global opportunities. So first I'll start with our agenda. We're first going to talk about the different types of global opportunities we have available here at Northeastern. We're going to talk about why your students should go abroad and some of the benefits of this, how they can finance their global experience, touch on some health and safety and well-being, and then ways that how you and your student can get involved. And then at the end, like Susan had said, we'll open it up for questions. So what is the Global Experience Office? We are an office as a one-stop shop for your student looking for a global experience. As you can see, we have 4 different categories of programs, so we're always creating new and exciting opportunities for students. Our first one we'll dive into is our study abroad opportunities, which is can be in our fall, our spring, or our summer term. We have called our Dialogue of Civilization, which are our faculty-led programming that you may have already heard about during some of our tours here on campus, if you're lucky to come, which is a summer 1 or a summer 2 experience led by Northeastern faculty. We've got our new exciting opportunity for second semester freshman students, which is our Global Quest program, which pairs freshman spring semester plus summer 1, so a 6-month experience abroad. And we also have our Global Co-op opportunity, which is a 6-month work placement in industry globally. So it is the counterpart to our domestic co-op experience. What you'll find here is this is our advising team. We have, right now, we have 5. We have a new one starting soon, which will be up to our 6th. We have 6 advising team members dedicated for students broken up by geographic region. So if your student is interested in a particular region, they will work with one of these people located here on your slide. You'll see we've got Nora, who's our senior advisor. We have Jeff, Christina, and Amelia, who are our advisors. And we've got Amanda, who's our advising and outreach coordinator. We're located in 411 Richards Hall. And you can see this is the information of their contact information and our email address, which will be at the end, which is just geo@northeastern.edu. So why should your students study abroad? First is they earn Northeastern credit for their experience. So wherever experience they're going on with, they will earn Northeastern credit with the exception of Global Co-op, which I'll talk about soon. On a traditional study abroad experience, they take classes at a host institution, and they receive the credits from that host institution translated to a U.S. credit and a U.S. grade, and it goes onto their audit and into their GPA. Students can utilize their financial aid package for their study abroad experience. So they can use their Northeastern loans, they can use outside loans and grants, and they can also apply for extensions on those. And I really encourage your student to work with their financial aid advisor to figure out how their particular package can be utilized for their experience. Great thing is you get to meet students from all around the world. So most of our programs engage with the local culture in some form or fashion. So on our traditional study abroad, our students can engage directly in a classroom with foreign students or students from that particular country. So if an example is if you're studying abroad at the University of Sydney, you'll be in class with Australian students side by side, as well as other international students there for study abroad or degree-seeking students. You can build your resume. It's an enhancement to kind of distinguish you for a global perspective and global competency by taking on an international experience. You can utilize this, and your student can utilize this on their job hunt and how to add this to their resume so they can really distinguish them when they're applying for those co-op opportunities or post-Northeastern employment. The student can learn or practice a foreign language. All of our opportunities, with the exception of language acquisition programs, have courses taught in English. But we highly encourage students to be able to take classes in the foreign language just to be able to speak with locals, interact, and order food at a restaurant, grocery shop, and kind of be more immersed into the local culture. And then lastly, but not least, is developing a global perspective. This will allow your student to be able to kind of broaden their horizon, to have a larger perspective on the world and the decisions that are made and how they impact just not themselves, but others as well. So now we're going to dive right into our first new inaugural program this year in spring 2019, which is Global Quest. Global Quest is a 6-month experience where a student is abroad as part of their freshman year in one of our 2 site locations. This is a first-year program only, for which the students are applying right now. The deadline of, we actually just extended it, so this is hot off the press. It was October 1st. We were extending it to October 15th, allowing students more opportunity to work with their academic advisor in our office. But this is a 6-month experience where students apply now. Once accepted into the program, spend the rest of the fall term in a cohorted program going into different cultural competency and agility workshops throughout the fall, preparing them to go into their spring and summer experience. During this time, students are abroad for 6 months, so which includes spring semester, which is equivalent of 16 credits, and then the summer semester, which is summer 1, which is May and June, where a student will be taking 8 credits for a total of equivalent of 24 credits. They will pay Northeastern tuition for this experience, and this is a combination of spring term tuition plus summer 1 tuition. For almost all of our programs, we have 2 opportunities right now, which is at the University of Sydney or John Cabot University in Rome, Italy. At both these locations, students will be alongside other Northeastern students, both at the Global Quest program, for which students go as a cohort but then integrate into the local classes, as well as alongside upperclassmen that are studying abroad there as their study abroad destination. So there is a range of study abroad students and Global Quest students participating. In this particular program, there's a program fee of $7,500. This includes housing for the experience, cultural activities on site, which is equivalent to the same amount of cost that a student would have to pay to stay here on campus for on-campus housing. And thinking about why should a student participate in Global Quest? As you're probably thinking, well, I just got my student off to Boston, and now they're going to leave for a spring endeavor. This is a way for them to really jumpstart their global perspective and global experiences and really make themselves even more ideal candidate for that co-op opportunity, and may even get them ahead to be able to participate in their co-op opportunity a semester early if they plan correctly. And the reason I say that is because students will be able to get what is equivalent of 24 credits over that 6 months, where typically students are only in classes in fall and spring, which is 16 and 16. They will actually be taking fall classes here and then 24 credits there. So we'll get them ahead into their academic plan. If you check out on our website, which we'll show at the end, that is www.northeastern.edu/GEO, there's a tab at the top called Global Quest. When you click on that, you'll see on the left-hand side a section that says Courses by College, and that will help your student identify exactly what courses are available for them. We worked very intentionally with the colleges to ensure that students will be able to get the courses they need to stay on progression, to graduate on the intended time that they'd like, and be able to take the courses so that they don't come back from this experience and are behind. But our hope is that students will actually get ahead. These are our 2 sites for 2019. There, like I had said, is the University of Sydney in Sydney, Australia, as well as John Cabot University in Rome, Italy. Depending on a student's college here at the university and what discipline they're studying, 1 or 2 of the sites might be available. There are a few programs here at the university that are not eligible at this time for the Global Quest. Right now, those programs would be our Computer and Information Science students in our College of Computer Science and Information Sciences, as well as our Architecture students and our Physics students. Other than that, all other students are available to participate in the program, and I encourage them to stop by our office to meet with one of our advisors to discuss the opportunity. We have new and exciting opportunities continuing to be added on for future years, so I encourage you, if you're a prospective parent on the phone and thinking about joining Northeastern, that there'll be opportunities for 2020 as well. Here's some more information about eligibility requirements. You must be a first-year student to go on this particular program, and so you must have started in fall 2018 here on the Boston campus. This is not eligible for students that are on the NUN program currently in the fall, but it is eligible only for the students that are here on campus this fall. You must have completed one term at Northeastern, which will be this fall term. You must have a minimum ACT score of 23 or a minimum SAT score of 1140. That is for the University of Sydney. For John Cabot University, which is in Rome, this is, again, first-year students are eligible that started here in fall 2018 on the Boston campus, completing their first term here in the fall, and you must be a minimum age of 18 by the time the student goes abroad. There might be additional authorization required if you're below that age. And here's more about the particular fees associated with this program. So this program for the spring of 2019 will include Northeastern tuition for 24 credits, and your student will be billed for that in 2 installments for the spring and for the summer. And then they pay a program fee, which is $7,500. Like I said, this fee includes the housing and cultural activities on site, like airport pickup and other types of things associated. This fee is equivalent to what it would cost a student to live here on the Boston campus for spring and summer one, so it is a comparable price to that. What our additional costs are some meals. There is a deposit for this program which requires a $500 deposit, as well if there's any labs that a student's taking, if there are lab fees, transportation, visa fees, and spending money. The next program I want to talk about is our Dialogue of Civilization. This is a faculty-led program that runs during our Summer 1 or Summer 2 term. This is where students are able to explore a new culture by alongside their fellow Huskies. There is often between 10 and 30 students participating in this program where they are going abroad and learning from 2 courses. Andrea is here today that is joining us. We'll be talking later about her experience in Japan on our Dialogue of Civilization program this past summer 2018. This past summer 2018, we had 63 programs. In 2019, we have over 80 programs proposed by faculty. They will become online in mid to late October, so I encourage you and your students to take a look at our website around that time. You can look now to see what historically has been offered in summer 2018, but we'll be taking those off in mid-October and putting up our new opportunities for summer 2019 by November 1st, because that's when that application will open for students. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that in the upcoming slides. During this program, it is up between 4 and 6 weeks. We encourage it to be 30 days in country. There are a few programs that have half here in Boston and half abroad. But for the most part, they are 30 days in country, where students are earning 8 Northeastern credits for 2 courses at 4 credits each. These are Northeastern courses taught by Northeastern faculty or in-country faculty, and they will come directly onto the student's degree audit and go into their GPA. There are options both in Summer 1 and Summer 2 in a variety of disciplines. This year we will have our first computer and information science dialogue, and we also have our first mathematics dialogue as well. We have dialogues in engineering, sciences, we have one in marine and coastal ecology that's going to be looking for going to Hong Kong in 2019. These are just some examples of ones that have been proposed. We do have a large variety, as you can imagine, with over 80 programs. They do range across disciplines, and our course is taught to keep students on their trajectory, graduating their intended plan, and not to put a student behind. During this time, students will pay Northeastern tuition. They will pay a Dialogue of Civilization fee, which includes their housing, their airfare, and cultural excursions on site. During the program is a little unique for which it's an intensive program that is 30 days in country with 8 credits, which is a condensed version of our summer term, which is 8 credits over 8 weeks here on Boston campus. As you can imagine, to get that content in a class in 30 days, it is more intense than a traditional class, which requires there to be classroom activities at night, on the weekends, and other types of ways, which requires that students are not allowed to have independent travel during the Dialogue of Civilization program dates. Now, that doesn't mean a student can't start and go early to the destination or stay later, but during the program dates, they must be in dialogue housing and part of the program throughout the time. There are various scheduled activities that range from guest lecturers, content experts coming to speak, cultural activities, sightseeing, and so forth built into the class for the students. And I encourage you to look on the website after November 1st to see the upcoming opportunities for summer 2019, which will also include the syllabi and the itinerary of the programs. Here are some examples of opportunities that we have run and we're slated to run for summer 2019. As I indicated, there are over 80 programs proposed, but these are some examples. Next year, 2019, we are projected to be on 6 out of the 7 continents. And you can see these are some examples from France, Israel, India, Peru, and New Zealand. But again, we've got, I guess, over 75 more than these being offered next year. Now, what is the eligibility for a dialogue program? Student must complete 2 terms here at Northeastern, of which one can be a summer term, and fall NUN students are eligible for Dialogue of Civilization programs. So if your student is currently abroad right now in one of our sites on the fall NUN program, they are eligible for the Dialogue of Civilization program. And we see here is transfer students and spring admits are must contact GEO to see if they're eligible, and by transfer I mean transferring here in the spring of 2019. If your student is transferred earlier than that, they would have completed the 2 terms and be eligible to participate in the program. The minimum GPA for most programs is a 2.5 GPA. There are some programs that have a higher GPA, so I encourage your student to check our website for the particular pages to see the exact GPA requirement, but most do have a 2.5. And if some programs that are language acquisition programs may have a minimum language level that a student must complete prior to going on the experience. So again, I encourage a student to check out our website to see exactly what each program's unique eligibility requirements are. Student must be in good standing with OSCR. This is our Office of Student Conduct and Conflict Resolution, and this means that a student cannot have any infractions and pending cases against them on deferred suspension, on probation, and so forth. So making sure that your student is in good standing here, we want to make sure they are equipped to go on their international experience. They also must have a 0 balance on their Northeastern account prior to departure. And graduating seniors are eligible but must work with their academic advisor and GEO to make sure that they can participate on the program. I talked a little bit about this, but I'm going to highlight it again, which are the expenses related to the Dialogue of Civilization program. A student pays tuition for 8 credits just like here on campus. And what the tuition rate is for the summer, you pay that for this particular program. And then there is a fee that goes along with that, which ranges from 0 to $3,500, and that really depends on the particular program. And I encourage you and your student, when they become online for summer 2019, to check out the website and see what the particular program costs are. These does range because it includes, it depended on the site that's going, and they include, all programs will include airfare, housing, cultural activities, and other maybe group meals, and that really depends on each program, so I encourage you to check that out. And I encourage you to look at the exchange rates and how they're fluctuating in a particular location to be able to have a more accurate budget for things outside of what the program covers. I'm also going to talk about what's called our traditional study abroad. This is an opportunity where Northeastern students can study abroad at a university abroad. We have over 170 different opportunities and locations for which students can participate in a semester experience or a summer experience. So we have 2 types of summer experiences. We've talked about one already, which is the Dialogue of Civilization program, and then we've got our traditional study abroad. So a student could participate on a faculty-led program, the Dialogues, or they can go to a summer school program at the University of Sydney or at the London School of Economics or Singapore Management University. These are some examples where a student's able to do a summer experience at a host institution. They're also eligible to do a semester experience at a host institution. So they can do a semester, fall or spring, or they can do a summer opportunity. And as you can see here on the slide, that if a student is doing a semester program, they typically are 4 months, and they typically are 16 credits, and typically 4 courses. But each program is a little unique, so I encourage your student to meet with our team to discuss more about that. In the summer, they range from 1 to 2 months, where they typically are taking 8 credits, which is about 2 courses, but that does range by program. So I encourage you to take a look at our website to find out what each program looks like. During this experience, students pay Northeastern tuition. So in order to receive Northeastern credit and Northeastern grades for the courses, they pay Northeastern tuition. Our office works with the student to make sure that the courses that they're taking abroad have equivalence to a Northeastern course and can count towards their degree. There's a process in our office. They work alongside their academic advisor and their geo advisor to work through the kind of course selection, ensuring that the student is staying on progression towards graduation. Students are able to utilize their financial aid package to participate on this particular experience. And I encourage them to work with their financial aid coordinator to figure this out and to find out what their eligibility and package can be applied to. As I indicated earlier, we have opportunities at 170 different locations, and almost all of those having classes in English. The exception would be programs that are language acquisition, where it's intended for a student to take most of their classes in the foreign language as they're trying to have a higher level of proficiency in that foreign language. I also encourage students that are taking classes in English to maybe have one course in the local language and local culture, as they really want to be integrated into the local community and being able to navigate that. It's not a requirement, but it is encouraged for students to do so. Students are to pay for their housing cost and their airfare directly to the agents, to the university that they're housing with, and to the flight agent companies that they'll be working to purchase their flights. And these are some sample opportunities that we have currently. As you can see, we do range across the world and different continents. We are on all 6 continents with the exception of Antarctica for different types of programming. And you can see we have programs here in South Korea, Egypt, Singapore, Sweden, and Australia, but these are just examples of them. The eligibility for this program is that you must have completed 2 terms in Northeastern before participating. And again, one that may be a summer. If you're a transfer student or you're a spring admit and you're looking to participate in the upcoming term, please work with our office to see if you're eligible to participate in that program. If you transfer to the university prior to this fall and want to participate after this spring, you meet the 2-semester eligibility requirement, as well as if you're a spring 2018 admit, you are also eligible to participate because you would have completed your 2 terms. Very much like the Dialogue of Civilization programs, they all have typically a 2.5 GPA minimum requirement, that is GEO's requirement, but some host institutions may have additional requirements from a 3 to a 3.2 to even a 3.5. So I encourage you and your students to check out our website to determine what the particular program's GPA requirements are. Again, you must be in good standing with our Office of Student Conduct and Conflict Resolution, a 0 balance before going on your experience, as well as graduating seniors to work with their advisors, both GEO and academic advisors, to determine their eligibility. There's one new program as GEO is continuously developing new opportunities that is a traditional study abroad opportunity available for spring freshman students that are in the College of Social Science and Humanities with a combined major with our Computer and Information Sciences. This is an opportunity we're developing right now and we'll have on our website very soon, which is an opportunity to study abroad in London this spring 2019. Oh geez, it's already 19. Spring 2019 at our London opportunity. This is available again for College of Social Science and Humanities with have a dual degree, or a combined major, I apologize, not dual degree, but a combined major with Computer and Information Sciences. Please check out our website and reach out to us if you're interested in this particular opportunity. So what are the expenses related to study abroad? A student pays Northeastern tuition for this experience. So if they're going on a semester experience, they're paying the 16 credit rate as if they were here on campus. They also pay an additional $100, which is a fee for international security and emergency support, which helps students through those emergencies if any do arise abroad and is their kind of a support service while there. There are additional costs that a student should be thinking about as they plan for their experience, which range from things like flights, housing, there's various deposits, and other fees that may be associated with their experience. And also always keeping in mind the exchange rate, as that does fluctuate over time. The summer programs, where a student is eligible to participate in a Summer 1 or Summer 2. Summer 1 is May and June, Summer 2 is July and August, and some of our programs fit neatly into those 2 boxes. Other programs kind of straddle Summer 1 and Summer 2. During which, student will pay the tuition for 8 to 12 credits depending on how much they're taking during their international experience, and that is the same as if they were here on campus. Same thing as the traditional study abroad. There's an additional $100 international security and emergency support fee, as well as other costs that would pay directly to the institution or to the travel agent, depending on what it is, and those are the same as the traditional study abroad. Next is our global co-op. Many of you, I imagine, know about the co-op model here at Northeastern, for which a student takes a 6-month experience in industry working, where they are not paying Northeastern tuition for that experience, but they are still a Northeastern student participating in this global experience. This allows students the opportunity to both do it domestically or internationally. I'm going to talk a little bit about the international ones, which we call global co-op. These are opportunities where students are able to work in industry alongside in a culture unlike the one here in Boston. They're able to take between 4 and 6 months in industry. They can also be research opportunities. They can be at nonprofits, and they really do range. We have students participating in these experiences. About 550 to 600 of them participate yearly in this experience in a 4 or 6 month experience. They are designed to enhance a student's career portfolio and prepare them to be effective leaders and conduct businesses across communities across the globe. Now, this is very important in the society we live in now, as most companies and organizations for which our students are getting employment in post-Northeastern education have some sort of global spin to them. Either they work globally, they have global branches around the world for which your student could participate in. And this often, participating in the global experience, will elevate them in the candidate pool when applying for post-Northeastern employment. The student will work directly with their co-op coordinator in the college, and that is where the student will work on designing their resume, applying for the job, interviewing for the job. Once the student receives the job offer, that's when they work with their global experience off advisor. Our advisor helps them with kind of the wraparound services, which include visa support, the application for an international experience, which is the GEO application for global co-op. We help them with their pre-departure orientations, where they're contact while they're abroad if there's any health and safety concerns, as well as helping students with their reentry programming. These are some sample opportunities for which students have participated in the past. You can see there are some examples here in New Zealand, Spain, and Germany, but this is just one sampling of over the 600 opportunities for which a student participated in. For the eligibility requirements for global co-op, a student must have taken their co-op course here. So every student takes an Intro to Co-op course as a sophomore student. After they participate in this experience, they're eligible to do a global co-op. And they have to work with the various requirements of the industry placement that they're interested in to see if they meet those eligibility requirements. It may be language, it may be a certain GPA, certain courses they must have taken, or industry that they must be studying in order to be eligible for that opportunity. They work alongside their co-op coordinator that is in their dedicated person in their college that they work alongside for these different opportunities. I'm also going to talk about scholarships. There are different opportunities to fund their experience. We in GEO have different types of scholarships. They have fellowships, which range for all of our opportunities from Global Quest, Dialogue of Civilization, and Traditional Study Abroad. These are $1,500. A student applies for these, and if chosen, they apply for different kind of tracks. So they can apply for the student blog, where they would be required then to blog about their experience while they're abroad. They also may be applied for video, where they have to curate a video of their experience, or they may be doing a photo journal. These are all showcased on our website on our Student Voice page, and are also on each opportunity. If you're on a GEO opportunity and you click on it, you'll see a tab at the top when you're in the opportunity called Student Voice, and you'll see students' blogs, photos, videos there for you. We also have what are called grants. These are available for all opportunities from our Global Quest program, our Study Abroad, and our Dialogue of Civilization. These are $1,000, and these are need-based grants. We work with our student financial services to determine the eligibility for these particular opportunities. We also have specific scholarships that are available for specific programs, and we encourage you to check our website to see what programs are eligible for this $1,000 scholarship. We also have, within our honors program, if you're a student was a fall 2017 honors student that came in that term, or a fall 2018 honors student that started that term here at Northeastern, they were eligible. They received what's called a global bank account, for which they're given $6,000 to participate on a global experience. This can be tapped into anytime after their first year here at Northeastern. For the fall 2017 admits, they were eligible for their summer of 2018, so this past summer, a free Dialogue of Civilization fee. The fall 2018 admit honors students are now eligible for the same in summer 2019 for a free Dialogue of Civilization fee. They just have to pay for the tuition that is for that particular experience. Students that are in the fall 2018 program of honors that started in fall 2018 must use that free Dialogue of Civilization fees their first summer after their freshman year. If they do not use it after their freshman year, they lose that opportunity. So I highly encourage, if your student is a fall 2018 admit that is here in an honors program, they should really look into our website and our opportunities of our Dialogue of Civilization to utilize that really great benefit. We also have what's called our Presidential Global Scholarship, which is available for global co-op. Students are eligible to apply for this scholarship, which ranges from $1,000 to $6,000, where they can utilize that money to pay for expenses while on a global co-op experience, which can be used for housing, airfare, and living expenses while there. Now I'm going to turn to what's our health, safety, and well-being. We here are dedicated to the successful completion of a student's experience while abroad, and that means both the preparation of your student going on an experience as well as the support while they're there, and being able to assist them while they're, if any issues may arise. So we conduct pre-departure advising and orientations where the students are oriented by our office alongside other colleagues at the university, from our Northeastern Police Department to our Office of We Care and other types of people that help orient the student. We also conduct health and safety orientations for faculty leading our programs, as they will be the main point of contact on site for your students. We work very closely with, like I had said, our office called We Care, which is our student support office, our Office of Global Services, which is where our international students work with for their immigration paperwork, as well as our public safety office. Northeastern has guidelines and requirements related to students' different types of travel, and I encourage them to look at our website to see what specific ones there exist. We have what's called RoadAware, which is a response service for students while there. I always think of it as a non-catastrophic 911. So if a student is preparing for their international experience and wants to determine if their medication that they're on is legal or illegal in their country, they can always call RoadAware to determine that. They will be able to give them guidance. If your student is abroad and it gets into an emergency, loses their passport, gets sick, they can call RoadAware. We'll be able to support them through that process, for which connects with GEO and Northeastern. So it is a contracted service that we partner with in order to be a response unit for our students, for which we are all looped in. We also encourage your student to work with the University Health and Counseling Services if there's any type of accommodations that are needed on their international experiences. The more we know about that, the more we'll be able to support your student through that. We also encourage your student to work with, if they need to or have been working with them, as our Disability Resource Center, as well as our Office of Gender Equity and Compliance. Now, how can you be involved in this experience for your student? I encourage you to talk with your student about their options and kind of figuring out what both works for your family dynamics. You want to empower your student to take the initiative. We really like to work directly with students to help them kind of navigate the experience that best seems best for them. You want to check in on their progress and see how they're doing and seeing how they're kind of working their way through the process, as it's always great to have a familiar face or a familiar voice helping them kind of channel through that process. You may want to provide guidance on budget management, as this might be the first time that your students had to have their own budget outside of being at home, maybe on a summer experience. You want to have them work on practicing their interviewing, as this is a key part of both the faculty-led program, because a lot of faculty-led programs require an interview, as well as for the global co-op opportunity. Taking interest in the location of study may be an opportunity for you to be able to visit on your experience while your student is abroad, and also helping your student apply for a passport if they don't have one, or renewing if necessary for their upcoming location. Now I'm going to turn over to Andrea, who's going to be able to talk about her experience this summer on a Dialogues of Civilization program to Japan.
Hi, my name is Andrea Aniker, and this summer I spent about 5 weeks in Tokyo on a Dialogue of Civilization regarding political science and human services. I'm a political science and international affairs combined major, and so this immediately stuck out to me because I had never been to Asia, and I had also never even considered going abroad that early in my college career until this opportunity was presented to me. So I discovered the opportunity around Thanksgiving of my freshman year when it had not crossed my mind that I would study abroad so quickly. But the opportunity seemed so amazing that I just simply could not turn down the opportunity to apply. So I applied not knowing what would happen, considering I was only a freshman and I knew that this was a very desirable program. But luckily for me, the process went really well. I loved interviewing with the professors that would be going on the trip with me. And so when I found out that I got in, I was absolutely ecstatic. Convincing my parents to let me go was a little bit more difficult, but obviously I was able to convince them, and we worked out the finances. My scholarship to Northeastern transferred over, which was a huge selling point for my parents because I was able to transfer the scholarship based on the number of credits I was receiving. So going on this trip meant I was going to get 8 credits towards my college career, and I would be able to do what I would have done otherwise in a summer program here in Boston, in Tokyo instead. So it was a wonderful idea from the start. I went on the trip, and I have to say it was the most incredible 5 weeks of my life. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. We began to learn about all the cultural differences between here and Japan, and it was an absolutely eye-opening experience. We spent Monday through Fridays in the first half of the day in the classroom with both Northeastern professors and professors of our host university, Meiji University, which was wonderful because we got the normal classroom structure that we were used to here while also experiencing more of a classroom structure that you would experience if you were a student in Japan, and the experiences were vastly different, and it was very interesting to us. We also got presentations from a different Meiji professor almost every day of the week. So we heard from economics professors, human services professors, political science professors, and we basically got to learn so much more about Japanese politics, Japanese economics, and Japanese culture through the exposure to their professors. I think personally one of my favorite things about the dialogue and the structure of the Dialogue of Civilizations was the comfort of having 35 other students and 2 Northeastern professors with us. Had I gone to spend a semester or even a summer term in Tokyo without that structure, I would have been absolutely drowned by the overwhelmingness of being in the largest city in the world and the intense cultural differences between the U.S. and Japan. But having that comfort, knowing the other students on the trip after having met them on campus before leaving, and knowing that everyone was in the same boat as me and that we all had a plan of experiences that we knew we would be going on together for the next 5 weeks was extremely comforting. It left me very confident in my ability to meet new people and forge new friendships, to be able to understand different cultures and to be able to adapt when things weren't going the way I expected them to. And it broadened my understanding for how different we all are, but also how similar we all are. And to be able to connect with other students from Meiji University in Japan, have them come back to Boston after we had returned and reconnect with them here on our Boston campus. It was a wonderful opportunity to really increase my international networking and to be able to meet students from other countries and really understand a variety of different topics that I was interested both from our lens and from their lens. Now I'm currently applying for co-op. I'm planning on staying local for this semester's co-op in the spring, but I have my dialogue on my resume, and as soon as I handed it to my co-op coordinator, she said it stuck out to her immediately because it's very rare that a normal student would just have such a huge experience this early on in their college career. At Northeastern, it's a little less rare because a lot of us like to go on these adventurous type trips. But in general, for students to have an experience like this it really makes you stand out from the crowd. I had an incredible experience. My 2 professors were one was the head of the political science department and the other was the head of the human services department. So I was truly lucky and blessed with the incredible connections that I was able to, and the relationships I was able to forge with these professors on this trip. And to this day and forever probably, I'll say it was one of the greatest experiences and greatest decisions I ever made. And now I am determined to go abroad as many times as physically possible within the next 4 years to continue increasing my knowledge and to expand my familiarity with these experiences because they are truly amazing. And yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea.
So as I had mentioned, we are now going to begin taking questions. If you look to the right-hand side of your screen in the Q&A, you can type your questions in. We will try to get to as many questions as we can for the next 15 or 20 minutes. We do ask that you refrain from posing personal questions pertaining to your student, but if you do have a question pertaining to your student, we'd be more than happy to have you email us at parents@northeastern.edu. So I'll leave that up on the screen just in case we don't get to your question. But let's begin taking some. So Garrett, you had started off talking about the Global Quest program. Does that apply to transfer students? Can transfer students take part in the Global Quest?
Well, a student would have to have completed one semester at Northeastern and be a freshman student. So the answer would be no to that particular question because they would have to have been here on the Boston campus in the fall as a first-year student and then go into the Global Quest program in the spring for the 6 months.
This is an interesting question. Would you suggest a dialogue within your major, or do you think it's better to kind of try something new when you're going into a different country?
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
That's definitely a hard question. It really is dependent on a student. Some of our programs, they do range that in the discipline or outside of the discipline. It really is about what the student's looking to achieve as well as what will keep them on progression towards their graduation. So I really encourage students to take courses that are either fulfilling major requirements, minor requirements, what is our Northeastern core, which is called New Path. It's something that's going to count as something for their degree. I really want to make sure students are not taking classes that are putting them behind or getting them out of sequence. So trying to find something, it doesn't have to be the major. It can be a minor, it can be something just completely fun but fulfills some sort of requirement on their degree. So it really does depend. I encourage them to work with our office as well as their academic advisor to figure out what program works best for them.
That's good. You had mentioned too, Garrett, that when they apply for the Dialogues of Civilizations, I think you said it was between 10 and 30 students?
Correct.
Roughly?
Yep.
So did they choose those students by first come, first serve, or is there a certain way they had chosen?
Sure. That's a great question. So I want to highlight one thing about the Dialogue of Civilization is that the application will open on November 1st, and the deadline, we have a new deadline process this year, so the websites will reflect that, but different than what is posted from last year, is that we have one deadline, which is going to be on January 15th. At that point, applicants will be reviewed by their faculty, and they'll review all their applicants and make decisions. So that is encouraged for students to get their applications in early because faculty will start interviewing candidates, but they can't make decisions until after that January 15th deadline. So they do really take into account what is the best kind of student group they want to have, what types of personalities, both from a professional, but also how the group can get along, as well as what types of majors. They sometimes like to take students from a variety of disciplines, variety of perspectives, to really enhance the diversity and uniqueness of their student group.
Does class year pertain anything to it? If your third-year student have more?
Well, that's a good question. Yeah, no, that's a good question about the kind of year of a student here. I will say some of our programs do require a certain level of competency in the major or requirement. So we have a marine science program that's going to Hong Kong, Malaysia, and also here in the U.S. That they have a certain level of requirements that course requires before they can go, as well as some of our engineering programs, our math program. So it may not be as eligible for a freshman student or maybe even a sophomore student because they may not have gotten those courses fulfilled yet. But it really encourages students to work with our office as well as their academic advisor to determine if they meet the eligibility requirements for those courses.
So sticking with the Dialogues of Civilization, trying to stick to categories.
Yeah, happy to, yeah.
If a student is out of Boston on a co-op, not in the state, and they want to do an interview for one of them, how does that work?
That's a great question. So we will have, for our Dialogue of Civilization program, like I said, open on November 1st, close on January 15th. We have 2 Dialogue of Civilization fairs. Our first one is on November 15th, and then we'll have one during the day and one at night. And we'll also have an additional fair in January right before the programs close. And we know that we've got a dynamic student population here that is transient and moving all around the world, both domestically and internationally, and we encourage that. And we really want our students to really add as many international experiences and co-op opportunities on their resume before they graduate. So all of our faculty will be conducting either in-person interviews or Skype or phone interviews, wherever the student may be, because they understand that students could be both domestic or not domestically.
Can a student apply to 2 or 3 different dialogues, or is it just one?
That's a great question. Students are only eligible to apply to one program per term. So we encourage students to take that time between November 1st and January 15th to go to our Dialogue of Civilization fair, going and meeting with the faculty. The faculty will have info sessions and starting to understand each of their different programs so that they can see which is the best one for them.
So thinking ahead, 2019, actually not that far away,
No.
Is there a Dialogue of Civilization for second-year students in the first summer session of 2019 for Spanish-speaking, in a Spanish-speaking country that are you aware of?
Oh, that's a good question. Yes, there will be. There will be there's proposed. So I don't want, nothing can be as final until November 1st. But there will be one in Peru. There will be two in Spain on Spanish language. Mm-hmm. That is at least what's slated to run, and that is subject to approval from the approval process, but that's at least what's proposed. Don't quote me, there might be one more, but at least I know there are 3 in summer one.
So we're going to switch gears a little bit to more the global co-op side of things. So for global co-op, how are students supported during their time in another country? Are there Northeastern representatives? I believe Andrea had talked a little bit about that, right? And do they live with other co-op students over there? How does that work?
That's a great question. It is the most immersive experience out of all the opportunities that we have here and the most independent. It does take a student that is comfortable with possibly being the only Northeastern student in their city or working at their company. A lot of our co-op opportunities have built into, well, not all, almost all opportunities have built in a well-vetted process. So it's not just a random employer that this university just partners with and sends a student. It is one for which the university has vetted, worked closely with that organization or that company to ensure that they have the proper plans ready for a undergraduate student participating in an employment opportunity during that time. But it will be maybe the only Northeastern student or the only student working at that company or in that city. We do encourage our students to connect with each other, and that is part of our pre-departure orientation. It's connecting students studying in similar locations as co-ops to connect so they have a built-in network beforehand. We also encourage students participating in global co-ops in certain locations to have connected with students that have just come back from that location to understand what that looks like for them.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
Yeah, so there's not always a student there, but it has a well built-in machine to support students as well as prior and after.
As the students apply for co-op here, should they apply sooner? Is it like the same timeline? Or do they take the same course? You know, the students have to take the pre-prep course for co-op. Is it the same process?
It is the same process. I do encourage students to apply earlier than later because different than domestic is that there's a visa requirement. And so going on a global co-op requires an additional kind of vetting and approval from the consulate of the country for which your student is participating in it. So that does require there's consular appointments to get your visa and a processing time. So if you're looking and applying for a co-op opportunity and you want to apply on and get accepted into the opportunity on a Monday and want to start the following Monday, that might not be able to be done because there's certain immigration paperwork that a student will need. So I encourage students to work earlier than later, but it still falls within the same timeline as domestic one.
I know you have a very dedicated staff of advisors you spoke about. We showed some of their pictures. How do students find out which one is your advisor? Is it on a website somewhere? Or?
Great question. If you go to our website, there are 2 ways that you can see. If you're on our main site, on the top right corner is our contact link, and you click on that. It has it broken down by each of our staff members, and there's a card with their photo. You click on that, and it has their region. If you're on a particular program page, there's a contact tab on the program page, which has their information on there as well.
So this is an interesting question. So if you had to make a recommendation for a student that's an honor student and first-year student, would you suggest they do the Global Quest or traditional program, Dialogue? Does it matter? I mean,
no, it's a good question. So Honors Freshman Students, started in fall 2018, is a unique place. They can participate in the Global Quest program, which they can utilize their Dialogue of Civilization summer after their freshman year money towards Global Quest. So this is unique. This is unlike any other program. They're able to utilize both their Dialogue fee money towards Global Quest, and they can also tap into their global bank account. That is if a student's looking for a 6-month experience immersive into the local culture. They'll start in spring, and they can go to either John Cabot or University of Sydney. It depends. I mean, it depends on how much time the student wants to be abroad, but the summer after the freshman year, the free dialogue fee can only be used towards a dialogue or towards Global Quest. It does not include traditional study abroad for the summer after their freshman year. The Global Bank account, which is $6,000, can be used after their freshman year, with the exception of Global Quest, towards a study abroad or a dialogue or a co-op experience.
So here's an interesting question. If a student was part of a dialogue, can they stay in that country and then do a co-op? Can they do one after the other? I do many students do that. Maybe Andrea might know if she has any friends or anyone that has this.
Well, I have friends who did not stay for co-op, but they stayed past the date of departure from that country. So I presume, and I'm sure you can explain more about this, that if they wanted to work it out themselves, there should not be anything limiting them from doing so as long as they had everything worked out.
Yeah, they would want to plan ahead of time, so they'll work with their co-op advisor, geo advisor, and their academic advisor to kind of find out how this can work for them. There are some limitations on the type of permit you need to do this, so you can go from a study visa to a work visa. You may have to do that ahead of time. You may have to come home for a short period of time and switch your visa category to go back into the country. It is an opportunity. We call it the experiential year abroad, which is pairing a co-op experience with an academic experience back-to-back and on one location. We encourage students because it gets them more immersed in the program and the location and more of a local opposed to a visitor.
Andrea, maybe you can talk a little bit about this. You had mentioned that I think some of your scholarship paid for some of your time here. Someone's saying, do merit scholarships apply to the study abroad programs?
Yes, so I received a merit scholarship to Northeastern, and it's you can either look at it as semester-based or year-based, but regardless, it's essentially credit-based. So whatever I would receive for a 16-credit semester at Northeastern, I received half of that for my 8-credit dialogue. So that was really helpful for me because it entirely covered my dialogue fee and then even some more of that. And then after applying for more scholarships from GEO, I was able to make my dialogue to Japan cost the exact same amount as I would have spent had I spent that time on Boston's campus. So both your merit scholarships, I would obviously encourage you to talk to your financial aid advisor, make sure that it works. But for me, it worked out for me, and I was able to apply it to my dialogue, and I was able to make it as affordable as I could make it, which was a huge selling point for me to go abroad that summer.
I don't think someone's asking, are the dialogues for next summer available to look at yet? I think you said they would post them shortly, right?
They'll be posted. Yes. What you see right now is summer 2018. Summer 2019 will be posted mid-October by November 1st. So they'll come offline mid-October, and then our team has to work on creating the new websites for the 80-plus programs. So it'll take us a little bit of time, but they'll be all up by November 1st.
Okay, good. Back to the scholarships and things. We have a couple questions in that financial, and a parent is asking, I just wanted to make sure I understand correctly that the global scholarships given to Honors College admitted who started in the fall of 2018, does that money have to be used by the spring of 2009, summer of 2019?
Yes and no. So the Honors Fall 2018 admits must use their free Dialogue of Civilization fee by the summer of their freshman year. That is correct. It will be lost after their freshman summer. After that, they have a $6,000 global bank account that can be used for the rest, used at any point during the rest of their time here at Northeastern.
Okay, that's good. Family and Friends Weekend's coming up shortly in October, and one of the sessions that we are going to be offering this year to our parents is Around the World in 60 Minutes. Someone's asking, is this going to be the same content there? But I know we plan to have different students who have various experiences studying abroad. So with this, there will be an overview, but we also will have a lot of different students who have had experiences in different countries that will be there to talk about their experiences. So we hope you'll be able to join us during that time. Someone is asking, regarding Global Co-op, does Northeastern have numerous relationships and connections and set up for engineering co-op positions? I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, definitely, for sure. We have 2 dedicated Global Co-op faculty in the college that are dedicated for the College of Engineering students to work directly with to find out Global Co-op opportunities. So yes, we have many of them. Engineering students are encouraged. We encourage all students, not just studying abroad in Global Co-op is not just for the humanities, it is for all Northeastern students. So we encourage them, no matter the discipline, to work with their co-op advisor or co-op faculty for Global Co-op and working with GEO for any study abroad or dialogue program.
We spoke about the global account. Is that what you call it, I think?
Yep.
So is that just available to freshman students or upper class students too?
The global bank account is available for students that started in the fall 2017 admits in the honors program that were admitted into Northeastern for fall 2017 as an honor student, or students that were admitted to Northeastern in fall 2018 as honor students. So it's the initiative that started in those 2 years.
I think you talked a little bit about this already, but what happens if you apply for a dialogue, and don't get in? Can you apply for another open dialogue?
That's a great question. So the applications close on February 15th, and at that point, if a student is declined or denied admission into a program, our programs have the ability to have an extended deadline until February 15th, which allow for programs that did not meet their numbers or for students to apply for additional programming.
So during summer one, is it possible to do 2 dialogues? I don't think it is, right? Because summer one's only about 6 weeks, correct? Yeah.
They can only do 1 in summer 1. I will say there's a unique program in summer 2 which allows a student to do 2 dialogues. There's one program that's on rhetoric after World War II, which is we call like a sister dialogue, which is 1 in July and 1 in August, which is summer 2 term. But there's nothing like that in summer 1, and that is the only available program in summer 2 that allows you to do 2 in summer 2.
Like, this has been a fascinating topic. It really is, because there's so many different opportunities, but unfortunately we are out of time. I just want to mention that if we didn't get to your question, please feel free to email me at parents@northeastern.edu, and I'll be sure to pass them along to their office. Shortly, we're going to be asked you to complete a brief survey to provide feedback on tonight's session, as well as for you to share some future topics that you would like to see. Also, next week, you will receive an email. This session was recorded, so if you want to go back and listen to it or see the slides, we'd be more than happy to do that. You can also find recordings of our past Tuesday talks on our website, northeastern.edu/parents. Garrett, before we close, we had quite a few people asking about your website again. Could you just give that address?
Of course. It is www.northeastern.edu/GEO.
Great. So next week, we hope you will join us. We are going to be talking next Tuesday night on October 2nd at 7 p.m. We are going to be talking about planning your visit for a Family and Friends Weekend. We will be sending an email out with the registration link, and we hope you'll be able to join us. Thank you again. We hope you have a great night.
Thank you.
And the survey will be out there shortly.